Salutations, readers. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nkechi, and now that we're in the new year, we need to talk about all the books that I've read in the fourth quarter of 2025. It has been a while since I've even updated y'all on my reads, so I need to update y'all for the things I read in October, November, and December. And I am officially recording this in 2026, so Happy New Year. Anyways, there's a lot to get through. There's so many, I read a lot of books to talk about. I've watched a lot of movies, consumed a lot of TV shows. There's just a lot to get through. So I'm going to try my best to be very concise for most books, and definitely for sure the TV shows and the movies, because I can't be talking so much on those things. However, I do have books I have here physically that we need to get through. For sure, and also any arcs that I've mentioned, also DNFs, because I DNF'd a lot this past few months. It's just a whole lot, but I really wanted to wrap up, though, the things I have consumed, though. So let's just get right into it with the reading stats. So let's start month by month, okay? So for the month of October, I think I have a picture here from Storygraph. I've read 6 books, 561 pages, 56.53 hours, and my average reading was at 3.96. I think it took me on average 8 days to finish a book. So that's pretty cool. Mostly read fiction, and yeah, I think a lot of audiobooks. Let's just quickly get to November. I read 5 books, 805 pages, 26.52 hours, and the average rating was a 4.5. November was actually a really good month, even though I did not read that much. It took me on average 13 days to finish reading a book. It took me a while, not gonna lie, to get through books. I don't know why. Although I think I read longer books, though, compared to the 3 months, so maybe that's what just took me longer, is because I was reading for longer. And I think I also just read a lot of audiobooks. I even did actually manage to read a nonfiction book, finish one at least, so that's really cool. And then to end the year in December, I've read 4 books, 435 pages, 23.23 hours, and my average reading was a 4.19. And it took me on average about 7 days to read a book. I think every single one of the books, except for one, which is actually the last book I read in the year, was an audiobook. I only had like 1 ebook, and that's totally fine. But yeah, those are pretty much some quick stats and stuff per month. And now cumulatively, as far as the entire quarter, the number of books totaled to 15 books, pages read a total of just about 1,800, hours listened to over 100, like 106.28 hours, and the average reading between the 3 months is 3.88 stars. I can't really compare the quarterly with the other 4 quarters. I didn't think of going back and doing all that because I don't have those stats, but 3.88 sounds just about right. I have read some really good books, and I've read a little bit more mediocre books. I didn't actually read any book. I don't think I finished any other book below a 3 in the past few months, so that's good, actually. I pretty much ended up the year pretty good. So, very satisfied. Anyways, that's it for reading stats. Let's get quickly to the DNFs, because I DNF'd a lot. I had a total of 13 DNFs. I read 15 books, but I also didn't finish 13. It's kind of a trend, not gonna lie, I've noticed in my 2025 reading that the amount of books I have read nearly compares to the amount of books I DNF. But it's fine. Out of the 13 books, 9 of them were new releases, which is a glaring problem. Something I really want to fix and work upon in the new year is reading less new releases, because clearly I've been finding some duds. And out of the 9 new releases, 5 of them were arcs that I got from publishers, and 2 of the 9 that were new releases were also nonfiction. So I'm been trying to read nonfiction, I just have not been finishing them, which is kind of what I've been trying to do all year, all 2025, honestly. It's just trying to finish reading nonfiction books, but I'm so picky. I really did realize I'm very particular with my nonfiction. Now, I do have a graphic right here as far as all the books I DNF'd, even the progress I've made into each of them. And you will notice that 5 of them have stars, and those 5 are the books I got from publishers. Some of them were a little bit more notable DNFs. And then as far as the nonfiction books, like Race Book and One Day Everyone Have Always Been Against This, those are books that I'm I probably won't get back into ever again, so yeah. There are DNFs that I really want to make a quick note about. The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Balvanino, I DNF'd around 32%. I really wanted to enjoy this one, but it really was not it for me. It's one of those books that's been part of the micro trend of Lady Night books. And this is also, I think, the first book in a standalone companion series, and I am not here for this series. I don't think this author is really for me either. I've never read anything from this author in the young adult space under a different name, but in the adult space, I'm not loving this one. I'm glad people have read it and enjoyed it, but it's not for me at all. Same thing with Dust Settles North by Dina Aljanetti. This book I DNF'd around 30%. I actually got it through, I think, Boundless Press, the binary imprints. And this is a book I do think I might come back into when I'm really in the headspace for it. But honestly, I put this book on pause for months, and I just could not pick it back up, ever. So I decided to just say, okay, we're done, because I didn't want to carry over into the new year. Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake, DNF'd around 50%. I just was not here for the message. I wasn't here for the sense of humor, the satire of it all. I don't know, satire in books just really don't work for me, so I just said, you know what, I'm done. At around 50%. I mean, I got it as an audiobook, actually, and I really liked the audiobook, but I just could not do with the story at all. And then You Were Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White, DNF'd at 42%. I got it from Psycho Press. I'm actually really sad in the fact that I did DNF this, because this is Andrew Joseph White's adult debut novel, and this one, I just could not be bothered. Pregnancy horror, I can't. Clearly, I've learned with this book that pregnancy horror is just not it for me. It already was exhausting. How just seeing Crane, the main character, being forced to hold on to this child. Like, I'm tired, and he's a trans man. Like, I'm tired. I got so tired and exhausted. It just was not it for me. I'm here for the body horror. I'm here for the bug stuff, but I just wasn't here for the pregnancy horror of it all. When it's just too real. It hurt my head. So I DNF'd at 42%. I know people really enjoy this one, so just know that with those 4 books that I DNF'd, there is a clear audience for those books, and I don't want to deter anyone from trying those books out if you are interested in it. It just didn't work for me, all right? But that's it for the DNFs. Let's just quickly get through the books I even read in this quarter. I'm going to be kind of quick about most of these, honestly, because I don't want to linger too much, especially the ones on October, because I don't fully remember, even though I do have my reading journal actually like right here, so if I do forget, I can always consult my reading journal for my thoughts. But for the most part, I'm gonna just go off the cuff and go whatever's top of my head. If I don't remember much, it is what it is. So first up is Kill the Beast by Sierra Swift. I got this as an advanced listening copy. Gave it 3 stars. I think it's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling of some sorts. It's a 3-star because I just didn't like the fact that it was retelling of Beauty and the Beast. It's my fault, though, for not realizing it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I didn't really realize it was until I actually was starting reading it, like, around third of the way through. Which is honestly my fault. It is completely my fault for not reading the synopsis deeply. So if I knew it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, I would have not gone the ALC for it. Regardless, though, if you're here for Beauty and the Beast retelling, it's definitely a unique take into it, for sure. But for me, I didn't really care for it. It's fine. I think this is also a debut novel, so, you know, we'll see what the author writes in the future. But for this one, it's kind of a pass. Next up is The Night Tiger by Yang-Shi Chu. I read this author's, I think, most recent release was from last year, which was The Foxwife. Really enjoyed The Foxwife. This one I enjoyed, but I have caveats with this one. I give it 3.5 stars. It could have been a 4-star or even a 4.5 star if it didn't have this pseudo. It would have had a higher rating if it didn't have the incest between the step siblings. I just could not. I couldn't rate a book higher than 3.5 stars with the way that this book was going about the incestuous romance between these 2 step siblings. I couldn't do it. No. But everything else was really good. It's narrated by the author. It's magical realism. It's historical. Very atmospheric. I really like this mystery plot that it had. I did like the characters. The characters were interesting. I do remember a particular young boy that was my favorite. I don't remember his name. But, like, I like the story. I like most of the direction of the story that it went, especially with the plot. I just had issue with that subplot regarding this step-sibling romance. Like, why did we have that? And it's not like it was trying to condemn it. It was just like, oh, they want us that. I'm like, why? And I don't think the author's endorsing it, okay? This portrayal and its endorsement, and I don't think the author is endorsing it. However, it made me uncomfortable, and I don't see the point in having it. So, yeah, if you don't care for books that have incestuous relationships, whether it's a a critique on it and condemning it, or it's just there, just let you know it has it. So major content warning on that one, but I give it 3.5 stars. I do think it's worth reading. Next up is Harmattan Seeds by Tochi Onyebuchi. I finally read this book. Finally, I got it as an ARC and as an ALC actually from the publisher. ARC from Tor, ALC from Macmillan Audio, so thanks to both of them for that. And I give this one 3.75 stars. This is a fantasy noir, very much in the veins of like P. Djeli Clark, Raymond Chandler, Agatha Christie, stuff like that, but it's set in a post-colonial West Africa. I really love the themes. It took me a little long, actually, it took me a long while actually to get through it. For some reason, I've had a hard time actually reading through it. The writing is very much hardboiled noir, and I've learned that hardboiled noir really is not my thing. If I'm going to read anything as noir, I need it to be not so set into being a noir. But I do like the style of writing that the author went about with this book. I like the sense of dark, sardonic, dry humor. That's the kind of humor I like, so I'm kind of here for that. And I do recommend the audiobook. I do actually think this is best as a hybrid reading experience, and that's exactly what I went with this kind of reading experience. I went hybrid because I really had to follow along what was going on, especially with the accent of the narrator for the story. So one I will recommend, but it's very specific. I think that it blended the fantasy genre and the noir subgenre within crime fiction pretty well, and it's very much character driven. So if you're here for an actual plot, it's there, but it's more so on the exploration of Boubacar, the main character here. Regardless, though, I do recommend it if you have not checked it out yourself. After that, I've read Theft by Abdulrazak Gurna. This one I gave like 4 stars. This author is British Tanzanian. Does this take place in Tanzania? I'm already forgetting. Crap. Shoot. Something like that. I think the book takes place in Tanzania, if I'm remembering this correctly. And it's historical lit fic. I think we have following 3 different characters, and it's supposed to be closer to the turn of the 21st century. It's very much a timely novel. I don't know, I just really like the narration, honestly, and the writing style. One thing I can really say about Gurna's writing, and is I feel like it's similar to Stanley Rooney, but not as dry. I feel like Stanley Rooney's writing is very dry and so straightforward to the point, and not as emotional, but Gurna is somewhat like a Stanley Rooney, but like more emotion. There's more emotion to it. It's more reflective. It's just, you get more of the character on the page, I would say. And I like the characters. I like the character exploration. So it's one that I would recommend. And I do want to read more from this author, but I give it like 4 stars because I really wanted more from the plot. And also it did have a really interesting uptick in the plot actually in the last third that I was like, wait, where was this energy in like the first half? So what was up with that? So there's pacing issues, but it's still something I would recommend if you have not checked out his works already. Now, the next book here is one of 2 translated works I read in the past quarter, and it's Walking Practice by Dolki Min, translated by Victoria Caudle. This is a book, I think, originally written in Korean, if I remember correctly. And this is a queer sci-fi horror novella, I think, where we have this alien from another planet who crashed landed on Earth and has to pretend to be human. But there's a lot of like graphic sexual stuff going on because like the alien also wants to emotionally connect with humans, but has to eat humans in order to survive. It's a whole thing. There's a lot of talk actually about gender and disability. I really liked how the author explored those topics. I give it 4.25 stars. If this author ever writes more books and eventually gets translated into English as well, I would read more for sure, because this was really weird. It was one of those really weird translated books that I read in the past few months, and it's one I definitely recommend. Truly a wild, weird book, but I liked it. And then I ended the month of October. I mean, this is not quite in order. It's kind of in order, honestly, of my star rating. But, like, basically the best book of October was The Everlasting by Alexi Haro. I actually read it as an ALC for Macmillan Audio via NetGalley. So I actually purchased a physical copy because I loved it so much. 5 stars. This is adult fantasy. This is part of one of those, like, lady night books. We do have Sir Una Everlasting, who's part of this, like, tale, and is always destined to, like, die. We have this guy, this historian, scholar guy named Oren Mallory, who apparently goes back in time. It's one of those time travel-y books, but it's also in, like, a loop as well. Like, I feel like a lot of a certain chunk of this book is actually the first, well, quote-unquote first, because do we really know it's the first time? We don't really know. But I guess a at least for us as a reader, the first time they've met in this time, like going back in time, seeing that Uno everlasting, fulfilling the tale and all that. And a lot of it, actually, the messaging here is regarding propaganda, actually, and like history and like controlling history and storytelling. I loved it. I love the themes that's actually explored in here. I also did like the dynamic between Sir Una and Owen. I think that is really, really nice. It actually does have a very much romantic undertones and stuff. I don't know. It's also beautifully written. I just really love this book, and it's a book I really want to reread. It is narrated also really well, so if you do get the audiobook, I highly recommend. It is narrated by Morwa Quirk, who does the parts regarding Sir Una Everlasting's perspective, but most of it will be Sid Segar, who narrates Owen Mallory's perspective. Alright, now let's get into November reads, just quickly here as well. Actually, the lowest rated book in November is actually a 4-star, and it's the book I'm going to talk about first, and that is Savage Blooms by S.T. Gibson. This actually really surprised me. I give it 4 stars, and yet it's a gothic, erotic fantasy romance that's the first in a series. The last time I read a fantasy romance written by S.T. Gibson, that's also a part of a series, was Evocation, and I gave that one like a 3-star. This one's a 4-star. Even though it is erotica, like, it's not just erotic, it's erotica, y'all. So there's a lot of graphic sexual content, a lot of exploration of kink, and just, like, dark desires. I don't know, I found it very fascinating how much I actually enjoyed it. And I think it's because I connected with the characters just a little bit more. Granted, I do think out of the 4 characters, I think 2 of them aren't quite as explored really well. So I'm hopeful for the second book in the series to explore those characters just a little bit more. But I really was here for Adam and Eileen. Both of them were really well explored in here, especially regarding their dark desires. And it's very much giving Wuthering Heights and The Cruel Prince. I've never read The Cruel Prince. I have no interest in reading The Cruel Prince. But Wuthering Heights, I got the vibe of this being quite similar to a Wuthering Heights or inspired by Wuthering Heights. So if any of you are interested in anything like a Wuthering Heights book, definitely recommend Savage Blooms. Now, granted, though, I did wish, though, there was more into the fantasy stuff, because there is fairy magic here, set in the Scottish Highlands, and I wanted more of the fairy magic stuff. We didn't get that much, so that's why it's a 4-star. But based on what we already got in this first book, I think there's enough in here to really explore the fairy things in the second book. And it's explicitly going to be exploring the whole fairy thing for sure in book 2. Like, it's in there. So I look forward to seeing how this series progress, and this is a series that I will be keep an eye on. I'm genuinely surprised. This is one of my most surprising reads of 2025, not gonna lie, is how much I enjoy Savage Blooms. Also, S.T. Gibson does provide content warnings, so if you are curious about actually the sexual content, the erotica of it all, the author does provide content warnings within the book, so if you want to know what's explored here, it's also available through their website as well. If you don't want to like purchase a copy or borrow it from the library, it's available through their website. Another book I read in the month of November is One of the Boys by Victoria Zeller. This is a YA contemporary, queer contemporary novel. That we're following a girl named Grace who transitions actually to be a trans girl, actually, in the middle of her transition mostly, in high school. And we follow her in senior year, and she is an American football player. You know, she's the kicker of her team, but she quits the team, I think sometime in her junior year. But around the senior year, the team requests her to come back to the team because they really need a really good kicker so they can get to the championship again. Y'all, I am here for YA queer contemporary novels. It's actually one of the consistent genres within young adult space that I continue to read regardless. Queer contemporaries, I'm always here for it. And also, I love American football. I really do. So when you get me American football, queer contemporary, especially a young protagonist, trans girl, I'm like, look, I have to eat it up. And this book is really, really good. I really like there's enough talks of American football and how it all works and stuff for those who are either in the know or not in the know. And if you don't really care about American football, you can still enjoy this story because we do just see Grace just trying to get through life, being trans and figuring out, also dealing with transphobia, transmisogyny, just a lot, honestly. And also, especially being an athlete, like being a trans athlete, regardless of football. Talk about being a trans athlete and what does that mean? I feel like that wasn't it's explored, but I don't think it's explored in depth as I would have liked. But it is a young adult novel, so I can see why I didn't want to go quite in that route, but I wish it did, though, just as a sports realm, but it didn't want to be like a sports book, so sure, whatever. Regardless, though, this is a book I recommend, and it is also a debut novel, so if you are interested in American football, I do recommend this book. And if you're interested in just like a young teen trans girl who's just trying to like figure out who she is, even as she continues to explore her gender, even we also do get instances also like before Grace transitioned as well. So there is also some bits of dead naming as well. So just to let people know about all that. But yeah, still one I recommend. And then I read Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is a fantasy noir. It's actually a neo-noir. This is actually one of Sylvia Moreno Garcia's earlier noir works. Because I think earlier this year I read Velvet Was the Night. That was more strictly noir, but this one is a neo-noir, and this actually deals with vampires. I actually really like the exploration of vampires in this novel. I like how it's completely different than any other vampiric novel I've ever read. So if you're looking for actually a more unique take on vampires, I recommend this book just for that, really alone. And I do also like the main characters we follow here, Domingo, the street kid. I really liked his gumption there. And then we also have Atoll, who is the Aztec vampire. There's different kinds of vampires and how they really work and stuff. I really like their character work. I also like how fast-paced this book was. It was just really, really good. It's also well narrated as well. So if you're interested in the audiobook, definitely recommend. I give this one 4.75 stars. I continue to read anything by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, whether I like it or not. And this is just one of my favorites for sure. Not my all-time favorite, but one of my favorites. Now, this next book here, y'all already have seen me talk about this book. But if you didn't, I actually hosted reading sprints actually just to finish it. Like, those sprints did not end until I finished reading Son of the Morning by Nkechi Emezi. Yes, the Nkechi Emezi, y'all. I finally got a physical arc. One of my best accomplishments, not gonna lie, of 2025 is getting a physical arc of my most anticipated release of 2025. Okay, this is a fantasy romance. It's also very much biblically inspired because it's actually even a Bible fanfic, because we do have Lucifer, we have the main character named Galilee, we have Leviathan, we have angels and demons, and it's a whole thing, y'all. It's a whole thing. It's very fast paced. I will say there is also insta love, insta lust, but for some reason, I didn't mind it. I really did not. And I know that's a hard sell for a lot of people. It's even a hard sell for me regarding insta love and insta lust. But like, it just worked. I don't know. Somehow Nkechi Emezi wrote a romance that's insta love and insta lust that I can actually root for. There's just something about Galilee and Lucifer's dynamic that just worked well for me. It's very much emotionally vulnerable, which I know as far as talent wise is like, how is that possible when it's so fast? But I don't know. It's just, Messi just made it so believable for me. And I also did annotate, like, I had a great time with this. And there is another love interest in here. Also explores that this is also polyamorous as well. And it's a very interesting plot. I also love the Kincaid women, the women that raised Galilee. I love that group. I really, really do. I don't know, just whatever Nkechi Emezi did, whatever they wrote in here, I just love. I truly love. Is this my favorite of theirs? It's definitely my favorite. I think this is actually my favorite out of the books they've published in 2025. And mind you, they published like 3 books. Son of the Morning was the third and final book that they published in 2025, and this is my favorite. By hands down, this was actually my favorite. Wait, was it 3? No, wait, they didn't publish 3 books. They published 2 books. My bad. I'm so sorry. They published 2 books in 2025. I'm sorry. I just read 3. My fault. But this is still my favorite, though, regardless, that I've read from them in 2025. And as far as all time, I don't know yet. I need to look back through the other books. But regardless, this is definitely one of my favorite books of 2025. Highly recommend. I do know, again, love and insta lust is not a lot of people's thing, but I'm just telling you, give this one a shot. Okay? Just give it a shot before you judge. Also, another book that I read in the month of November, but I didn't rate it, but that's because it was nonfiction. The only nonfiction I read in the past few months, and that is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. Yes, I have managed to read this one. As far as any nonfiction books, I managed to get this one. Mostly because I got it through Libby as an audiobook. And also, I did look back, and this is the only book that was written by a cis white man, and I actually read it. You know what I mean? Like, this is the one book. As far as if I'm ever going to recommend a book written by a white cis man, it's going to be this one. because it was actually written pretty well. Actually, it was actually written really well, and I love the audiobook because John Green narrates his book pretty well. It's really, really good. I liked how he wrote about the history of TB, like how it was called consumption, and also how that affected society at the time when it was called consumption, how it's evolved to tuberculosis, how how global health has also involved with the research of TB, and how TB is curable, but for some reason in the parts of the world that has the highest TB cases, those places don't get the cure, and it's just a whole thing. And we have this whole story following this one young man who was diagnosed with TB, and I think, Sierra Leone, and we've learned about his journey, and just making it emotionally invested. It's just a whole thing. Oh my gosh, this is so good. As far as any book that I've read this year, especially nonfiction wise, this is the one book I'm so glad that I got a chance to actually finish reading in 2025. And now we shall get to the books that I read in December. I read like 4. So one of them was The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 1 by Beth Brower. This is actually a book that I kind of been seeing around in the past couple of months on Instagram. This series of journals that's written by the character Emma M. Lyon, and just her life and stuff in 1800s England and stuff. I think the Victorian era. It's just very much day in the life, journal entries, stuff like that. I think every single journal that's ever been published, I think it's 8 volumes of this. So each volume takes place in the course of 2 months. So I was like, okay, let me just give this a shot. It was really short, and I enjoyed it. I give it 3.75 stars. I don't know if I'm really going to continue, but I don't know. It's just something for me to at least try. It's going to be a while, though, before I get to Volume 2, because it's a long wait list for Volume 2, but I enjoyed it enough to at least give this a shot. And it was well narrated, so if I'm ever bored and the audiobook comes in, I'll listen to the second volume, but not that much. It's not very memorable. It's just a whatever kind of read for me. Now, the next book that I have to talk about is actually another book that I read that is a translated book, and it's also weird too. It's Hunchback by Sao Ichikawa, translated by Polly Barton. This was originally written, I think, in Japanese, and this one is definitely heavily on portrayals of a disabled person who's just pretty much messy. Not gonna lie, it was a very weird book. I don't think I fully understood it, but I gave it 4 stars because I like the narration, I like the writing style, and I like the discussion regarding disability, and just not just disability, but also bodily autonomy. I just really liked how the author wrote that. I do hope, though, that the author writes more books, and also more of those books get translated into English, because I would like to read more from this author. It's just a weird one. It was very short. It was so short, so I feel like I missed some things, so maybe I should do a reread, but I don't know. Definitely one I would recommend, though, if you're interested. And then next up is Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler. I finally read an Octavia E. Butler, y'all, and it is the first book in the Powerness series, and this series is really weird. I am actually currently, as I'm recording, reading the sequel, Mind of My Mind, and this series is really, really weird, because this first book, Wild Seed, starts off with Doro and Anyanwu. Those 2 characters, they give me a fucking headache, okay? I still have a headache regarding Doro and Anyanwu. Doro is a fucking menace, y'all. My gosh, he is some sort of parasitic. I don't know. He started off human, but he has some sort of this. He mutated to have some sort of ability that can hop into different human bodies and stuff, but he has this very big eugenics project that he's trying to do, where he's trying to create superhumans and have them all bear children with each other. It's very much a breeding program, eugenics project. It's a lot. And Yanwu as a character really pissed me off, because I was like, girl, how on earth are you still here? I don't know. And Yanwu as a character was interesting. Even Doro as a character is interesting. Their relationship is interesting in Wild Seed. However, it irritated the fuck out of me, because why is this happening? And it's not like it's a very long book. Honestly, I think the first book is less than 300 pages. But just why? I just wanted to wring Doro's neck so many times, and I wanted to slap Inyawu's face so many fucking times. But regardless, though, I still really enjoyed it. I really liked the book. I still continue on the series, and I want to finish reading the series. Mind in My Mind is also a weird book, too. we'll worry about that when I talk about January and future reads and stuff like that in 2026. But Wild Seed is a weird book. Very weird. And I think the series is just really, really weird. Even the order of the books is weird. Because there's a very specific order, but those books were published out of order. So it makes it very interesting to talk about this series when I think about, like, wait, Wild Seed actually was the book that actually came out last in the series. Like, as far as the Pattern series is concerned, literally, Wild Seed was the 4th book to be published, even though it's supposed to be the 1st book in the series. I don't know what was going on with all that. Regardless, though, I still recommend it, and it has a lot of kind of warnings, though, because there's a lot of abuse, a lot of grooming, there's a lot of coercion, there's a lot of things. Okay, it's just a lot. And again, we're talking about eugenics, so all the bad things that go with that. So it's a lot. Truly is a lot. Regardless, though, I still recommend. And then last, but certainly not least, book that I read in 2025. And now my camera battery is dying. Hold up a second.
12 seconds later.
Okay, what was I talking about? Right. Okay, the last book that I ended 2025 with is This a Cry for Help by Emily Austen. Granted, though, I've been reading this book kind of for like a different reading vlog, so I debated, honestly, if I was even going to talk about it in this wrap-up, but I don't know if that vlog is even going to come out. So, you know what? Let's actually talk about this book, just in case I don't actually manage to get the vlog out. You know what I mean? Just saves the future me some problems here. But I really enjoy this one. This is actually my first foray into Emily Austen's book, and I actually was granted an access to the e-arc thanks to the publisher. And the book doesn't come out until January 13th of 2026, so y'all getting a little bit of early insights on as far as this book, and I really enjoyed it. If you are a fan of Emily Austen, I think you're going to enjoy this one. We follow Darcy, who is a lesbian and a librarian at a public library in this small town, and like she's just dealing with a lot of things. She recently came back from being institutionalized from having a mental breakdown because she found out that her ex-boyfriend had passed away, and she's going to therapy. She's dealing with book banners and challenges to the public library and their catalog, and dealing with things regarding her relationship to her wife. It's just a whole thing, and also there's a cat. I like the cat. It's just a lot. It's very character driven, and I really like the writing style. I think that's the thing about literary fiction, is that when I find an author with a writing style I really enjoy, I like eat up the lit fic book. Okay, I'm not an avid lit fic reader, but when I find a book that's literary fiction with really good writing style, I eat it up. I loved Emily Austen's writing style. I really liked the exploration regarding Darcy's character, how she contended with the fact with her grief of her ex-boyfriend, reflecting on the relationship that she had with her ex-boyfriend before, she realized that she was even a lesbian, and then how she discovered that she was a lesbian. Dealing with all that, it's just dealing with also book banning, also a lot regarding like how to support your library. I just loved a lot about this messaging here. I give it 4.5 stars. I didn't give it a full 5 stars because I thought the pacing was a little bit wonky. I thought it was interesting. It was pretty slow, and then it started to pick up pace, and then kind of slow down again. I don't know. And also, there's a lot of like subplots and stuff. So I don't know. I think it's just a lot going on, but it's still a book though that I would recommend to a lot of people to check out. So if you have not read anything by Emily Austen, I do recommend this one, at least as a starting point. At least that's what I did. I do plan on going back and reading Emily Austen's previous novels. I do own her debut novel, so I think that might be the next book I read, or the book that came out before Is This a Cry for Help? I probably will check out, what was it called? We Could Be Rats or something? Yeah, I think I'll check that out pretty soon in 2026, hopefully, but for sure, though, I will be reading more about Emily Austen, and Emily Austen is definitely one of my new favorite authors. So yeah, that's it. That's all the books that I read in the past few months. My gosh, 15 books, y'all, is a lot. Then let's quickly just get through the movies, because I watched a lot of movies. Honestly, I didn't actually watch as many movies as I initially hoped I would. Mostly because of the fact that there were certain new released movies in 2025 that I really want to get to, but I want to wait until 2026 to watch those movies. So here we are. I'm going to be very quick about these movies because honestly, there's not really much to say. One movie I watched was The Half of It 2020. I think I watched it on Netflix. It's a platonic love story. I really liked the platonic love story part, but it kind of fell flat for me in the second half. I don't know. I don't remember synopsis for a lot of these movies, okay? So bear with me. But I did like the movie, though. I think I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. Yeah. Something like that. I also watched the Sea Beast 2022 on Netflix. It's very much reminiscent of How to Train Your Dragon, but instead of like dragons, we're doing with like these sea beast creatures. But it's still also distinct enough on its own to have its own story. But if you are a fan of like a How to Train Your Dragon, I would recommend the Sea Beast. It's available on Netflix. I think I give it like 4 stars on Letterboxd. And then I go on Disney Plus and I finally watched Inside Out 2 2024. I don't know why it took me so long to rewatch that sequel. But mostly because of the fact I saw like some mixed reviews on it. But I did enjoy it though. It's not as great though as Inside Out 2015. I still think that film is still my favorite out of the two. But like it's still enjoyable enough. I think it's a solid enough sequel as far as Pixar sequels are concerned. It's solid enough. I think it's one of the better Pixar sequels that's not Toy Story. So, one I still recommend, but like, just temper your expectations. It's not available on Disney+. Then I watched Monster High Freaky Fusion 2014. I just really wanted to watch something that was Frankenstein adjacent, because I really want to watch the Frankenstein film, but I just couldn't put myself into watching it, so I thought, let's just rewatch Freaky Fusion, you know what I mean? And upon rewatch, it's not as good as I really liked it as a kid. As a kid, this was actually one of my favorite Monster High films. Again, yes, I am indeed a Monster High fan. Okay, I grew up with those movies. If I had to choose between Monster High and Ever After High, it is Monster High. Now, granted though, this is actually one of my least favorites upon rewatch. I haven't rewatched all the G1 films, but I shall be honest. This one, yeah, upon rewatch, didn't quite work for me. I don't think I particularly love, I don't know, it's just the way that the story went about. I just didn't particularly like this one. And it also was kind of a little bit more dramatic than I think it should have been, but whatever. Regardless, though, it was a fun blip of a film to watch. And then I just rewatched 2 Christmas movies, and I watched 2 Christmas Carol adaptations. So let me get through the Christmas movie stuff out of the way. So I rewatched Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey 2020. It is on Netflix. Highly recommend. It's a Christmas movie musical. Highly recommend. I love the soundtrack. Oh my gosh. I love the costuming, the design, and the character work. One of my favorites. I rewatch it every single Christmas. As long as I remember to watch a Christmas movie. It's definitely like the one. They like the top Christmas film to rewatch every single Christmas. I give this one 4.5 stars on rewatch. Then I have also rewatched Klaus 2019, also available on Netflix. Really, really good. I think this is like the best movie to watch on Christmas Day. Give this one 5 stars upon rewatch. Highly recommend. And again, I did watch 2 A Christmas Carol adaptations. I watched the Muppet version, which actually I was recommended to, I think was it Kirsty from K-Beth Bookish? So, thank you, Kirsty, for this recommendation. I really did enjoy it. It's a 1992 film, and I really liked it. I didn't realize it would be a musical, but that's okay. I actually don't really watch a lot of Muppet films at all, but maybe I should, actually. I actually like the Muppets. They were really fun. Not gonna lie, I liked it. I also liked the depiction of Scrooge. I never read A Christmas Carol. I have no intention of reading anything by Charles Dickens at all. But I want to say, as far as it being an adaptation of the book, it felt like a closer adaptation, at least a more closer adaptation and truer to the character of Scrooge than this other adaptation that I watched, which was Scrooge, A Christmas Carol 2022. This one's available on Netflix. The Muppet Christmas Carol, I think, was available on Disney+. So this one, Scrooge. It's an animated version, much newer version. I think it's a little bit more musical numbers. And I don't know, this one I didn't enjoy as much. Now, the Muppet version, I think I gave it 4 stars. The Scrooge version, I gave 3 stars. It definitely felt like more of a kid film to me, and it's just so fascinating to me to see like how 1992 to 2022, a 30-year difference, on how both of these films are actually still appropriate for children to watch. But I felt like the 1992 version was just a little bit more, I don't know. It's weird to say kidifying, but like, I didn't particularly like the animation, honestly, of the Scrooge version. Now, like this, I don't really like the way that the characters were animated, how they moved. I wasn't here for it, but the actual story itself is fine. It's still comparable to like the Muppet version, and even give me a little bit more information actually on Scrooge's backstory than I think the 92 version did. However, I just wasn't really here for Scrooge's portrayal as much, actually. They made him a little bit more too sympathetic too early, honestly. And they didn't give enough time to actually show how cruel and rude he really was. I feel like the 92 version was like, we're in it, you know? And we kind of took our time with like how Scrooge handled between the Christmas past, present, and future. I felt like in the 2022 version, we kind of sped through it a little bit too quickly. And I felt like those ghosts also was talking to the audience too much. It was just in your face. I felt like it was doing too much. And I'm like, isn't there like a lot of Christmas Carol adaptations? Why on earth are we trying to do so much of like put it in our faces? You know what I mean? Regardless, though, it's fine. Give it 3 stars, but it's more of a flop to me as far as an adaptation of A Christmas Carol. But, you know, I only watched 2, and still, the Muppet version is the best version. Even though I only watched 2, but that's gonna be the one I'm gonna be watching like every single Christmas now. Anyways, though, that's it for all the movies I've watched. Let's quickly get to the TV shows. I watched Nobody Wants This on Netflix. There are only 2 seasons. I am surprised actually how invested I was in this romantic comedy drama. I think I was interested in this one because of the lead actress, Kristen Bell, since she's one of the lead actresses in The Good Place. And I really liked it. I really liked on how we had this agnostic sex podcaster dating this young rabbi guy. Like, I don't know. I think it was like really, really cool. And I'm so here for season 3. I need season 3. Like, there's so much drama that happened in season 2 that I need a season 3. Like, I need a trailer. I need to know what we're going to get in season 3. I'm like so invested in what's going on. Not only just the relationship between those 2 main characters, but also some side characters. I'm totally here for some relationships. Like, I need to know more. Highly recommend, honestly, if you have Netflix. Also, another show to watch that's available on Netflix is Jurassic World Chaos Theory, seasons 1 through 4. If you are a fan of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, you have to watch the spin-off sequel. Actually, it's not even a spin-off. It's actually a sequel series, actually. It's directly related to Camp Cretaceous because you're following the exact same 6 characters, Nublar 6. However, we find out in the beginning that one of them has died, was eaten by a dinosaur, and they figured out that, hey, maybe someone's trying to actually take a hit on actually one of them, and then the rest of the Nublar 6 Nublar 5 are also at risk as well, and just bring them all together. It's a whole thing. A lot on grief. My gosh, it's so much, y'all. That show put me through the ringer, okay? I was in my feelings. So much of that show put me in my feelings. I just could not believe it did that to me. Like, how dare this show put me through so much? It even put me through with so many of the characters. So many of these characters go through death already in Cape Cretaceous, and even more so since dinosaurs are available around the world. Like, what? The fact that the dinosaurs left that island, I'm still like, what the actual hell? But then again, humans, you know, I feel like, you know what, that kind of makes sense, but also just why? Why must we make things difficult for ourselves? But regardless, though, I recommend 4 seasons is complete. I'm here for it. I really liked how it ended, even though it really got me in the feels and stuff. But I really liked and how I feel like the Nublar 6 in this sequel show was even closer, I feel, than they were in Camp Cretaceous. It just made way more sense to their characters. Totally here for it. I love Darius, Brooklyn, Kenji, Sammy, Yaz, and Ben. I love all 6 of them. I love their characters. I even love their characters way more than I did in Camp Cretaceous, since they're all older. Like, they're in their late teens. They're like 18, 19, even 20 years old. They're like older now. Man, truly love it. I truly love it so much. What's another show? Abbott Elementary. I caught up on the show, y'all. I made it all the way through season 5, up to the new episodes. And I love the show, y'all. I just love it. I love Abbott Elementary. It's literally my favorite ongoing show right now. There's another show that's pretty close. I also caught up to, but Abbott Elementary, y'all, this comedy series, I'm here for it. Just give me more. Give me more of Abbott Elementary. I cannot wait to watch the rest of season 5. If it's going to be season 6 or season 7, I don't know. It's just one of those shows I'm like, I could watch so many seasons of this and not get tired. I don't think I'll ever get tired. I'll just be upset when the show ends. That's it. Not happy. Sad. Oh, so sad. Regardless, though, I can't wait for the ending of season 5, because honestly, the way that the point of this story that took their break before 2026, I'm like, oh, child, we're in it. We're going to be really in it for the rest of season 5, because, where they are now for that, with that school. And then also another show that I caught up on is Hell's Kitchen, season 24, Battle of the States. This is a very much dramatic reality TV show. Again, you know, Chef Ramsay yelling at these chefs who are trying to get this head chef position, always at this fancy restaurant every single time. And this particular season is not as dramatic as the previous seasons. However, I do appreciate the creativity of the chefs more, though, personally for me, in this season than I did in the past, most recent seasons. Like, I don't know, I think the The only other season that I really enjoyed with newer chefs was like season 18 and 19. By the time I got to season 20, I was kind of getting already tired of the show, not gonna lie. But season 24 made things at least a little bit more interesting for me. So I'm very curious actually now that we're in 2026 to see where the rest of the show goes, especially with like who wins it. I don't know on who's gonna win it. I have my guesses, but like, you know, I never really know until like those two chefs at the finale have their hand at the door and we wait to see whose door is gonna open. That's when I'm like, okay, I will know who the winner is. And more often than not, I'm correct. So yeah, regardless though, that's it. That's all the TV shows that I've watched in the past few months, and that's it for this video. Whoo, man, I have consumed a lot, not gonna lie. I feel like I've consumed more in this past few months as far as movies and TV shows than I did in other months, at least combined. You know, I mean, there's definitely parts in the spring I think I consumed the most, but as far as this quarter, I'm actually quite satisfied with the amount of books that I've read, the amount of movies I've watched, and the amount of TV shows I have watched. I am hopeful for, you know, the next few months into 2026 that I have read a consistent amount of books, watched a consistent amount of movies and TV shows as well. You know, still continuing on with Abbott Elementary, Hell's Kitchen season 24, stuff like that. But also finding newer shows. There are definitely some on my watch list for sure for 2026. And of course, there's going to be some newer stuff that's going to come out in 2026 as well. But I will remain optimistic that I'll actually get through those pieces of media in 2026 and not waiting until 2027 to get through them. You know what I mean? But yes, that is it. I finally have now talked to you all about all the things that I've consumed in the past quarter. Now I can finally get into, okay, let's actually reflect like how 2025 as a whole has went for me, okay? So look out for those kind of videos for sure. Anyways, thank you all again for watching this video. Like it if you like it. Comment down below how the last few months of the year went for you, like your October, November, December, if you remember even that far back. But you know, let me know how all those months went for y'all, book wise, movies, TV shows. You know, recommend me some stuff. And also, if you're new here, you like my vibe, like this video and stuff, you want to see more videos from me, whether it's videos or rating sprints, I do recommend subscribing if you have not done so already. Now, you've made this far into the video, you're not sure what to say, but you want to leave me an emoji, let me know you're here. We got at least some sort of emoji that relates to the past few months. We need a ghost for the month of October. We need a turkey for the month of November. And we need a snowflake for the month of December, especially since it's been really cold, not gonna lie, where I live. We need one of those three emojis, okay? Pick any one of them. It could be to represent your favorite month, you know, in the past few months, whichever one. Thank you all again for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.